Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Millennial's Guide to Real Estate Investing. Today I have a very special guest, Bobby Castro, to run through a couple things about him. $300 million apartment building portfolio, making around $350,000 net income a month through that portfolio. He has a $1 billion exit sale of a company that he started. He's recently blown up on social media. I followed him a couple months ago, and he's been on a ton of different podcasts. His social media has gone through the roof. He even surpassed me now, helping a ton of people. He's been featured on Inc. 500, I think 13 plus times I read somewhere as well. So thanks so much for coming on the show. I'm excited to have you here today for personal reasons and to also just have the guests as well learn more about you and how you got started.
Awesome, Antoine. Thank you, dude. And more so, thank you for your good energy. And, I'm all at the stage of my life trying to give as much as I can to, especially a lot of millennials. I decided to maybe give a little more love to Instagram. My Instagram that my son just started for me about 3 months ago or so, official Bobby Castro. And it's coming from my heart, man. And if I did it, anybody can do it. And I'm sure you have a few questions. And I know there's a lot of real estate investors, which I absolutely am a huge fan all my life of real estate. And so I'd love to share anything I can in order to help that next Bobby Castro.
Awesome, man. Yes, let's just start from the very beginning. I mean, who is Bobby Castro? How did you get started? And was it that business you started first and then you got into real estate? Or, what was Bobby like growing up?
Yeah. Well, first I got into business and then real estate because I started figuring out, Antoine, that it actually took money to buy real estate. Mm-hmm. I was always under the wrong impression that it wasn't that case because I used to buy all these packages telling me a little different than the reality was. But I didn't speak until I was nearly 7 years old. My mother, she's 80 years old. We just celebrated her birthday yesterday. She was a full-time waitress. Today it's called Denny's. Before Denny's, it was called Sambo's. So just imagine, Antoine, you and your buddies, you come back from a party or a gathering, it's 6 a.m, and that beautiful waitress is waiting on you guys with ham and eggs. Well, that was my mom. And she did a graveyard shift. From there, she walked home, didn't drive because there was no car, and we lived close to all the restaurants. And a few hours later, she went on to her second gig, waiting on tables. And same thing repeated at night, her third gig at the Roni Pub Steakhouse in Miami Beach. So that was my mom's life. Massive struggling. My dad, he was very passive, 9 to 5, really didn't care much about the fact that maybe lights were off, water was off. We were living off of Rent-A-Center, meaning that you don't have enough money to buy a sofa or good enough credit to finance a sofa. And today it's called Rent-A-Centers, and you simply rent them. And every week you got to come up with the money. If not, they're very strict, dude. They'll come and pick up that lamp. Yeah. And I saw that as a young kid, and it bothered me so much. It was a lot of stuff in there, roaches, fleas. I can really get crazy. My mom, she hates hearing these podcasts because I can't help. Mom, I'm here to share with these young people, and they're asking, and it's all transparency. So after 7 years old, I started talking. Something happened. My mom was a huge supporter. I didn't do good in school, Antoine. Not because I was a problem child or a difficult child. I didn't understand. I still have a hard time comprehending. So every time something was being explained in school, I would raise my hand, asking a question about the topic, and then literally back to back asking it again 5 times. Yeah. They used to get extremely frustrated with me. I failed the 3rd grade. And then after the 9th grade, which was junior high back then, today it's high school 9th grade, I said, Mom, man, I don't want to do school no more. Yeah. And believe it or not, she supported me. She says rock and roll. Wow. Yes. And I think she knew I was having a hard time with it. The teachers were getting frustrated with me like I was getting frustrated with them, with all my questions. Even today, I have a lot of questions. When I'm in a meeting and I'm being asked a question, I'd have to clarify. I'm handicapped there, but it's fine. And I always say, Antoine, it's great to be aware of your weaknesses. Don't focus on fixing your weaknesses because it'll take a lifetime. Yeah. Focus your strengths and fuel your strengths, and that's exactly what I did. So I started being a busboy, started going in the hospitality areas, my mom, and I see my mom always giving value to her customers, giving good service, giving a just tremendous amount of value to be rewarded, almost like a dog or when you train something in the circus. When they do good, you give them a treat. Yeah. Well, my mom will always get a treat when she did well and provided the most amazing service. Whether you hated the food, you gave her that 18% tip. So I seen that growing up. I applied the same madness in the restaurants. I was a waiter many times, many times. I was actually a waiter when I started the business. I just exited for $1 billion valuation. And that went on. I was always trying to get rich quickly, trying to buy these packages. There was no internet back then, but a whole bunch of classifieds,
Yeah.
classified junkie. And I would always be excited or drawn to the headers, make $1 million this year.
Yep.
Whatever the case. And I would just drive my energy towards that, get the package, and realize that I was getting excited. I didn't have money to buy those packages. I did buy them several times later when I had a few dollars from saving up being a waiter. So really fast forward, I always believe in people skills, and I think I leveraged it the correct way, and that's why I am today. Is only because I treat people kind, respect.
Yeah.
It's only collateral and the only asset I have. We had no money.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people in Don Shula Country Club that used to play golf, and I was just enamored with these individuals, with the success they had. I had no clue what they did, and it didn't make a difference. I just said, man, this is what I want to be. And growing up, I always seen the landlord come and knock on the door with my mom saying, hey, in case, Kathy, your rent check bounced again. And the damn landlord will always show up. And I always say, man, I would love to be in that guy's position. It was just a constant. So I hated it. And I worked my tail off. I didn't like to go back home because it was a dark, depressing environment, a lot of struggle. My dad had 15 children. My mom was only 27 when she had me. My dad was 50, and he was just a mailman broke. He's Puerto Rican. My mother's Jewish and Irish, and she fell in love with my dad, and they were cats and dogs to the day my dad passed away. They lived in separate rooms. So I seen that, as a child and even as an adult. So fast forward, after many attempts, a lot of failures, a lot of always trying to get rich overnight crap.
Yeah.
I started just working, man. I said I had to put my head down. I joined Amway. I joined multi-level marketing because I enjoyed the energy of people trying to get ahead.
Yep.
And I pay the $5 open fee every Monday night. And I was horrible at it to recruit people, but I just being in the environment because everyone was excited, so freaking nice and having coffee and just
high energy.
Yeah, man, I was chasing it. So, I there was one package I got, and at the same time, I was selling memberships for the Better Business Bureau during the day. And I was waiting on tables at the Rusty Pelican in Key Biscayne in Miami. And I had my little baby girl, I have 2 children. She's 28 years old now. And I sold this membership. A guy really liked me a lot. He goes, hey, I hate the membership, Bobby. This brings me no value. I don't want it. However, I'll buy the darn thing if you come work for me. Yeah. So there was some synergy because it was the same time he was selling a package too, and it was the equipment leasing industry where you just broker equipment financing for a business owner or a doctor who needs an X-ray machine, and the lender or bank will pay you your commission once it's funded.
Got it.
Well, I became very good at it. He left the scene. He retired. He was very old. He gave me his Rolodex because I was kind, respectful to him, worked my tail off, not expecting anything in return. That's how you build relationships. You get invited for opportunities. You don't force opportunities upon somebody that even if you don't have, that's another topic.
Yeah.
So I became the largest Southeast originator in the equipment leasing space. And I really was fun about medical doctors. They really never wanted to wait in line. They always wanted it fast and hassle-free, and they gave you a quick decision. So I built a good book of business, and then I saw some pushback in the industry where Dr. Castro said, hey, Bobby, I no longer need your service. Like, wow, what do you mean? This guy says yes to me every time.
Yeah.
Well, Siemens, GE, and the rest of them are now given 0% manufacturing finance arrangements to move more product and putting out guys like this. But to be honest with you, Antoine, I didn't feel it, man. It was not pinch, but I noticed it. It was like a pushback.
Yeah.
And I said, well, Dr. Castro, what else do you need? Well, I can use some unsecured working capital because my receivables are never here on time, or my reimbursements from insurance, and they're never the amount it should be. No worries, I'll get it for you. Well, it took me a long time. I couldn't find it. Nobody wanted to give unsecured financing out, no lender.
Yeah.
So I was invited to an intimate retreat in Martha's Vineyard, and I met an investment banker, and after a few drinks, getting along great with him, I said, man, there's something going on in the industry I think that's changing. And he says, man, I love it, but I can't help you, Bobby, because it's all my asset-backed securitization is with collateral,
Yeah.
not unsecured. And I would explain, say it's the same damn thing, man. If you pick up an X-ray machine 6 months later, it's going to cost you more than what it's worth. It depreciates. Bobby, I get it. I just can't help you.
Yeah.
I pushed softly, kept nicely just telling him about what's going on. Finally, I was able to share a deal with him. He called me back. He goes, "Are you kidding me? This doctor I'm going to give you an example profile, 740 FICO, DTI 35%, adjusted gross income $380,000, $2 million net worth, license, give or take 11 years. They will say yes to you at 18%, your maximum usury law in Florida." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Why?" I said, "They don't want to stand in line. These healthcare providers, they don't have the time. And
Wow.
it's worth it. It's actually cheap money for them."
Yeah.
We did our first deal. We didn't have the money. Started the company with a total of $25,000. One loan at a time. There was three of us. It was my brother, Eric, and Al. 19 years later, I just exited. No investors, no raisers, no syndication type of things. 19 years later, I just exited 5 months ago for $1 billion valuation. I sold them in 3 slices. So the last 4 years, I was able to earn $233 million from efforts I did 19 years ago.
Wow.
I was bought out, all hassle-free cash, no complications. And I decided because I wanted to do something else. And interim, throughout all those years of 19 years, even when I was the first 10 years, the first 8 years was living hell.
Yeah.
But during that time, I saved every penny, and I would buy real estate. I started with homes, one home at a time, the cheapest home, levered up. I got it to 17 homes. Then I sold that portfolio. Then I started small, and I'll tell you how I started small, because I learned a big lesson where I started big and I lost millions of dollars by overpaying and over leveraging myself.
Yeah.
I said,
was that in the like 2008, 2007?
Yeah, 05. I just went crazy in 05 and 04, 05, 06, overpaying.
Yeah.
Not paying attention to the true numbers, trying to convince me of a deal that's not a deal,
yeah.
and over leveraging myself.
Yeah.
So I learned my lesson, and I said, okay, I'm starting small. I'm not going big because I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
I started one home at a time, and I was broke, dude. One home at a time. Went to 17 homes, and I said, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get a duplex. I actually got a duplex. Yeah. I went from 1 to 2. Then I got a triplex, no exaggeration, from 2 to 3. And I'm so tedious, so OCD, I went to 4. Then I went to a 5-plex, which I entered the commercial world.
Yeah.
I went to a 6-plex, an 8-plex, so on. Then I was selling those assets. These are garden apartments.
Yeah.
Making millions of dollars. My last garden apartment, I think under 3 years, I sold it for a net profit of $17 million. Today I have 2,000, give or take 2,000 doors. That provides me and my family, my grandchildren, $300,000 every single month, whether we like it or not, for positive cash flow. Yeah. They're valued a little bit over $300 million, very low leverage. My leverage is about 45%.
Wow.
And the power of saving pennies. Nobody wants to do it, man. It's just too damn long. It's too long. It has to be a quicker way, Bobby.
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you, there's not a quicker way to wealth. And then I have a lot of private equity. I have venture capital, all in all, $300 million personal net worth, a whole bunch of cash on the sideline waiting for value. And that's a quick version of somebody that has a hard time comprehending things, failed at the 3rd grade, only finished the 9th grade, completely poor, living off government housing, even was on food stamps myself, my wife and I, of 29 years, with my daughter.
Wow.
No raise, no investors, no win the lotto, no my uncle left me this. Literally, Antoine, I'm not exaggerating, penny by penny, and I call it stack and rack. Yeah. You can count a dollar, but it's so boring to most that they just, especially the young people I'm finding, man, and they're so talented. I look at some of these young people, I'm saying, man, you do cartwheels around me, man. You're like Daddy. What, Stevie Wonder can see this, man. What are you not? You know?
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. And then so you said a couple of interesting things. So me and my brother work together as well. So did you and your brother work together for those 19 years, or did he start with you and then he left eventually? And then talk about that relationship, because it is it's a mixture of then family with business, and our dad's involved in the company now, so he actually quit his full-time job to come join the real estate business we have now as well. So talk a little bit about that family dynamic and how you guys split it up, because it feels like for our family, like we're always working 24/7. Even at the Thanksgiving dinner table, we're talking about deals we're selling or buying that week. It overlaps, and it's hard to find a balance between the family time and pure family time and then getting the business involved, because we work together every single day.
Yeah, great topic. Eric, my brother, he's only 18 months apart. We're
Mine too.
Yep. Inseparable. I gave Eric 50% of the business, the Southeast originators that we were. He was doing something else, and I said, Eric, man, this business is you got to come in on this with me. I went on vacation for the very first time, Sophie and I, on a 1-week cruise. I said, dude, can you take care of the phones? He said, yeah, I can do that. And when I got back, he goes, man, Bobby. I said, I told you it's a good business. And I gave him 50% right from my heart here, because I knew not only because I loved my brother, but I knew he can help me leverage it, because he's in operations. I am very type A. I'm in sales and marketing. So he came in from the very beginning. When we went to Martha Vineyard, it was he and I who met Al. He and I just really mixed well. Now, family is such a sensitive topic. A lot of them, are maybe not on the same page. And what you mentioned, we were at my mother's 80th birthday yesterday, and there was a lot of family there. And me and my brother, during this time, was talking about business. Yeah. And I finally surrendered to it a little bit, where I started realizing this is just the way it is. We are serial entrepreneurs. Yep. We can't get it out of ourselves. And a lot of people say, man, can't you guys stop talking about business? And the reality is, I can't. Yeah. But I can love you. I can adapt to you in this, but I just can't turn it off. Yeah. And I stopped fighting that situation, and I'm trying to call it balance or whatever. I just spent some time with Richard Branson earlier this year, or a few months ago, trying to find that balance. It was like 20 months. And just don't fight it, as long as you're helping people on the way up. And family's a big thing. It's just Eric and I that was always in the business, nobody else, because nobody else can relate. Yeah. A lot of family members, a lot of distractions, a lot of drama, a lot of chaos. It's like that family Shameless. I mean, that's my family. And that's why you'll hear me talk a lot about distractions, because it used to distract me, all that chaos, and grow. And I had to say, time out, I'll catch you on the rebound, but I have to get going, man. I got to get something going. Love it. Sometimes you're not going to stop talking about business, and I think that's okay. Yeah. Because you're taking advantage of opportunities. Yeah. And time is money. And that's the thing. Like, we can't turn off either. It's like, oh, I'm not going to talk about this now because X and Y and Z are here. It's like, no, we're always on. We're always thinking about the business. If we can have a 5-minute conversation at the dinner table that helps the business in some sort of way, because it's an idea that came to us at that moment in time. I mean, it's not like, it's like, let's just talk about it now instead and get it over with. But then, Antoine, and that's why I always say true entrepreneurship is a lonely life, because what's going to happen, you'll start separating from some of your friends, some of your family members, because the conversation is different now. What's on your mind and what's going on in your life is so different than what was going on yesterday. And people start not realizing, it becomes very lonely, and I'm fine with that. Yeah. As long as you understand the sacrifice. If you're not fine with it, if you truly want to have massive financial success, you're going to have to be willing to make that sacrifice. And at the same time, you get value by being a good human being. By making money, you're able to help other people that need it, that can't help themselves. And that's a huge reward that I'm getting in life.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. And then also over those 19 years, so you had a business that was growing and making money. So that's kind of where I am today. Our business is still very young. We're year 2 or 3 now. But, over those years, you're saving money. You're seeing the cash flow come in from the business. We've started taking that cash flow and started buying multifamily apartment buildings out of state in the same markets where we're doing the residential flips and stuff. But what would you recommend in terms of, because it's also a fine line between taking that cash and putting it back into the business versus taking that cash and putting it into cash flowing apartments, which the first year is going to be all value add. You're not going to see that money back, right? So at what point did you, it's like a hard balance to how much money should I put back into the business to keep it, like, should I hire 2 or 3 more people over here, or should I buy another apartment building that's going to make the family cash flow or get to that, 2,000 doors or whatever, but was there any fine or hard line that you had set for yourself
Yeah.
in terms of doing that?
Yeah, I almost filed bankruptcy by doing that. It's crazy. I have this company for 19 years that I just exited, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
It's such a powerhouse. This year it'll do $200 million of true net income. No ad backs, no
Wow.
200 million. It's always been profitable from day one. Never took a loss. 2012, I was so honored to win the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur Year
I
Award and
saw
all this
that.
stuff.
Congrats.
So what happened was I love real estate. I was rock and rolling my company, just rocking. And then I want to get into real estate.
Yeah.
I started paying attention to real estate, started taking equity from this company, paying me a little heavier than what it should be so I could buy real estate.
Got it.
So much that I started losing track of my business.
Yeah.
That meant everything. And it's the mother lode. It's a holy grail because I got distracted about real estate because everybody was becoming wealthy. It was the trend. Every cab driver was talking about it. And I tell a lot of entrepreneurs, man, real estate's always going to be around. The only way you can ever benefit from real estate is treat it as a legacy play. And a legacy play is that focus on your business. If you have a business, fuel it, reinvest in that business, expand it, because that's more true legacy wealth you're going to create to buy
Understood.
assets. Real estate in so many different cycles will always be there. And a lot of people I'm speaking to a lot of people on social media, man, have some incredible freaking businesses telling me about real estate. And I'm saying, well, how much you have? No, but I'm going to take it from my company. I'm going to grab $1 million. Well, what are you coming? And I'm saying, why aren't you paying attention to that? This economy, 3.5% unemployment, every consumer wants to say yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you get more customers, convert more deals, recharge your business? Think about real estate when there's true value, because right now you're not missing out much unless you're really doing this full freaking time.
Yeah.
And you can tolerate risk. You understand the dynamics, the shuffle, the adjustment.
Yeah.
Because what's happening in multifamily, it's no bubble. It's just so much capital being deployed trying to find the yield that they're overpaying for assets. So I told the individual, I spoke to maybe over 100 about this. Pay attention to your business because you're going to regret it, like I did when the market, when your industry shuffles or the economy goes down. You're going to say, man, I could have loaded up on more customers 4 years ago, and I got distracted, and I almost filed bankruptcy by doing that, and that's when I was a friggin' mess, and that's why I beg young people, man, I don't charge no money what I'm doing. I'm telling people, pay friggin' attention, and I see them on social media getting so fixated on these personalities and the planes and the Ferraris. There's no friggin' information by looking at a friggin' plane.
Yep.
They want something from you, man.
Yep.
And what you need to do is find the information for yourself. You don't have the money. You're looking for real estate. Why are you looking for real estate if you don't have the money?
Yeah.
Why don't you get the money first and then look for real estate? Get the money, build the money. So it's simple ABCs, but man, everybody wants it now.
I know, because it's crazy. Because I started a turnkey company a couple years ago. We're doing 100 homes a year now, and we started taking cash and putting that into multifamily. We bought 71 units in just one zip code this year alone, and then we started looking at the business, and we're like, holy shit, we just sunk, X amount of dollars out of the business. Now the business is running dry, and it's kind of killing the flow of the company now, and it's kind of. Now we, like, literally just an hour before this podcast, we had a phone call with everybody and said, okay, no more multifamily. Let's just dump everything back into the business and take it from 100 doors to 500 doors a year. And then we'll have true cash flow, true value that we can take to go buy the apartments when there is some market hit and not everybody's trying to buy something for a 3, 4, or 5 cap. Ridiculous pricing right now.
It's so crazy, man. I spoke to a beautiful person, up to his ears with credit card debt, just month by month, has kids. I mean, he's a real big pickle, man.
Yeah.
He's negative every single month. And he only had $12,000 to his name. So he invested it in real estate with another syndicator. I don't know who they are. And he's saying, Bobby, man, I'm only making, I think it was $56 a month. And I put 15. I said, yeah, that's what more or less you're going to earn. But did you realize it was only going to be 56? Did you not? And he said, no, everyone is and multifamily, cash flow and assets. I have so many different asset class, office buildings, triple net leases, parking lots, anything that cash flows, majority multifamily.
Got it.
treat them and think about that legacy. When you have built up stack
Yeah.
from, for example, you and your family, like, I did from your business,
Yeah.
man, you're gonna do so much better, because if you don't pay attention to your business, man, you're cheating yourself, especially right now. It's never been better, man.
Yeah. Understood. Great. And then, so talk about how you went. So we talked a little bit about the real estate side, you scaling up. You literally went one unit, duplex, triplex, fourplex.
Yeah.
Then how did you scale into the larger projects? And which markets were you looking at that point in time? I guess it sounds like you went into other things besides multifamily, but talk a little bit about how you scaled it up. Cause we started with I started buying a $35,000 house in Memphis, Tennessee from California. Scaled that up to a small portfolio for the family, then started selling them to friends and family, which is how the turnkey business started.
Yep.
And then scaled that business up to 100 homes a year, and then started buying multifamily through that. Started with a 20 unit, then a 10 unit, So how did you kind of scale that up? Was it just through time and just saving up money from the business and dumping it into more and more deals? And then did you start bringing in investors into those deals? And let's talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah. So no investors, not even the main business that I just exited, not any of my real estate.
Wow.
That's personal. Not one investor. I thought it was going to be a lot quicker. Plus, I didn't even know anybody who had money or anybody. I didn't want to waste the energy. And I started, no exaggeration, man. And I have it all, documented. It's amazing when you look at the anatomy. I started with that 1, 2, 3. So it's so awesome to look, man. I'm so grateful for that younger Bobby, man, that was so freaking disciplined and learned his big lessons by getting so freaking distracted. I could have gotten there quicker, and I probably would be worth $500 million. But it's okay. You learn from big mistakes. So I started with a 1, 2, 3, and then I would go ahead and pivot. Pivot means, okay, when I get this, I would turn it, sell them, because I needed money in order to continue growing.
Yeah.
I wasn't caught up on getting the amount of units. I was caught up of increasing my cash flow.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it. A lot of people, oh, Bobby, but you had your business for 19 years. It was giving you money. We put millions of dollars every year back in our business. I was literally pennies to pennies. I remember making $200,000 in my business and saving only $20,000, $25,000 from it. That's why I started one thing at a time. And it just grew from there, Antoine. And during that phase, dude, the Holy Grail happened. This was a game changer. I was learning the business.
Yeah.
I didn't pay a coach for it. I didn't go to a session to teach me this stuff. I just learned it because I was freaking broke, meaning we were putting it back in the business, and I had no choice but to learn it. Numbers, I love numbers. I'm fixated. So I did it 1, 2, 3, all the way up. I just closed on a deal. My last deal was 400 units. I paid $88 million. I bought it. It was a value add. And for the real estate listeners, check this out, man. I always say value adds. And right now, value adds is a very loose word. Be very The value for me, I bought these 2 deals for $108 million this year. I bought them maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And it was they were tight deals. One of them is for sure a legacy property, which I'm not too crazy about that because I love cash flow. I'm in the workforce housing. My rents are from $1,100 to $1,600.
Yep.
But I bought these 2 deals because it allowed me, because real estate, there's a new law. Everyone knows about depreciation. You can depreciate this stuff 27 and a half years, but you can actually depreciate from day one, 100% bonus depreciation. Donald Trump put in.
Yep.
Dude, you remember that event? I got a bunch of money in June. A lot of money was wired into my account.
Yeah.
Come April of next year, I have a very big check to write to Uncle Sam.
Yep.
Because of real estate and because of those 2 acquisitions, I'm going to be paying millions with an S at the end, less in taxes because of that.
Yeah.
That was the value add for me. That was the biggest bonus for me to buy that.
Yeah,
so I tell people, what is your value add? Value adds more than, and I would have never known that. No one taught me that, dude. I just knew about depreciation because I started making money throughout the years saying, man, this is just helping me.
Yeah.
Just the tax alone was huge. So please, man, treat multifamily real estate as legacy properties. I'm negotiating a Publix brand new center, fresh off the press, 2019 construction, 20-year triple net lease. They cannot cancel. It's boring. They're not huge increases.
Yeah.
The company does $30 billion a year, but it allows my family to yield 7% every single year, because now, I want to have a 100-year legacy plan, meaning that, what does that mean, Bobby? There's three stats that scare the hell out of me, and I belong to an organization that's a little over 700 members, over $80 billion of net worth, high net worth individuals. Wow. And I continue surrounding myself with people who know more as I continue leveling up to different stages. Bobby, you and Sophie's my wife for 29 years. You guys somehow, some way created the wealth. Priscilla, who's 28, Brandon, who's 23, something happened to you guys. They don't know, they'll spend it all. Yeah. They don't know how to compound and maximize it. And then Ocean, my granddaughter, who's going to be 4, and my grandson, who's a year and a half, there'll be nothing for them. It scared the hell out of me. Yeah. So now I'm in the legacy plan of legacy planning, where in 100 years from now, man, I want somebody in my DNA, my family, and someone asks, man, how'd your family do it? Papa Bobby, he started it. So we're creating policies, strict policies, that investment committees, and that's where I'm all about legacy, man. I know the true value of long-term efforts, and everyone wants it tomorrow, man. So many years, Amazon will never friggin' deliver it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that's why I love your content so much, and I think why you've blown up, over just the last couple of months, is because there's a lot of guys out there that are selling the get rich quick, selling their courses, selling the private jets, selling the Rolls Royce, selling the Bentley, and your content is just purely educational. You're not selling anything on that platform. It's going to keep the people coming, which it is. It's obviously working for you. So any last word of advice for the young person who just graduated college, has their first job, second job maybe, is looking to get into real estate, they're enamored by it, they haven't done anything? What would you recommend for that person? Because that's going to be the listener today.
I'm recommending to all these young individuals, you come out of college, you've been out of college for a few years, whatever the case may be, and a lot of people are working for companies that they're not happy, they're complaining, they're not making enough. Fall in love with the friggin' process, because it will lead you down this yellow brick road to better things. You just got out of college. Do not be friggin' picky. Just get a job as quickly as possible. Get another job. Don't just get a job 9 to 5 and thinking that you're busy, and then after 5, I work my tail off with very low-end jobs. Every penny counts. And, these non-refundable minutes that everyone has. I'm 52 years old, man. I wish I was 19 years old again, what I know now. Use this 24 hours. Consume it to your maximum levels. Do not care about how much you're going to get paid. You got to consume these in effective ways, all these minutes, and leverage relationships. It's all about relationships. If you have no money, like I didn't have money, the only thing I had was to be transparent, earn the invite. And I'm seeing a lot of people on social media, Antoine, beautiful, awesome people. They just don't know. Cool dudes. Bobby, I got a deal. Bobby, here, you want to invest in my company? What about building a relationship? I'm on the phone with a lot of them, man. I got some money to invest. Do you think we should get to know each other? I mean, that is a transaction mindset. That is not how private equities, how VCs work, how big institutions work. They're all about a leverage relationship to get to know one another. Yeah. And when people like you, man, and they have some sort of opportunity that they're exposed to, guess who they invite? Guess who they want? I mean, you got to be able to be willing to give value, not just gimme. Yep. So there's a value exchange. And there's a book that a lot of people should read. I just read it in Africa. I traveled 9 countries. It's Alibaba. That's the name of the book, Alibaba. And the author is Adam Duncan. Duncan Clark. Duncan Clark. You'll see how this billionaire made his on relationships when he was a tour guide, how that led him to Alibaba. And watch your associations. You have a friend. Having a lot of friends is a full-time job. What you need to do is start networking those boring ass networks where everyone's old. It's so old that it smells old. You got to get some sort of value, some information you don't know, and stop and get off this freaking social media. Get on social media and get value. Don't get on social media just to.
I know, zombies.
Rolling.
Yeah.
It's an addiction, man. It's scary what's going on. I never knew it, man.
Yeah.
Never knew about this because I wasn't so. Now I'm saying, Jesus, I mean, this is really something that's scary.
Yeah. And powerful. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Bobby. It was great having you. And I think that the people and the listeners learned a lot from you and your experience over the last, couple decades that you've been in the game. So thank you so much again for coming on the podcast. What's the best way, if people do want to reach out to you, what's the best way people can get in touch?
Instagram official Bobby Castro. There's a bobbycastro.com website. I'm only doing this for how long? I don't know. I'm truly giving from my heart, expecting nothing. And if you DM me a question, man, hit me up with a question, and that response is from me. And just I ask you, please be honest about the question. If you're broke, say you're broke.
Yeah, agree. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Appreciate it, Antoine.